You know, there are so many dating apps out there, and if you're one of many people trying to connect online, it's not easy to wade through the weeds and find a winner. Professional stylist Alyssa Dineen says there's an art to analyzing someone's profile and making your own stand out. She wrote a book and has tips on how to put your best foot forward. You are a fashion stylist, a longtime fashion stylist in the New York City area. So what inspired you to write a book about online dating?
Well, when I aged 41, I ended up leaving my marriage and quickly realized that I wasn't going to meet somebody in person. So I realized I had to try online dating. And so put a profile up and kind of had no idea what I was doing. And I realized that I'd met my husband in college, so I hadn't even, before cell phones or anything, so way before any online dating existed. And there was such a learning curve. And while I was going through the process and I even knew what kind of photos to put up and that kind of thing, but even just knowing what to write and what to message and, how to even make a date was just all so, challenging when I'd been with somebody for 20 years. So I realized as I was going through the process, like everybody else must be feeling the same way I do when you're getting out of a long-term relationship and getting back out there again. Even if you have online dated before, it's still like, now it's nothing like what it was even a few years ago.
Some of my best girlfriends are also going through divorce, and listening to their stories about online dating, really, it is hard to meet others when you're, let's say, a single mom or a full-time working person to meet. Yeah. So there really is an art to this. What is mindful or, let's say, intentional dating?
Yeah. So, I feel like the one thing about online dating that I realized is that you can't just dabble in it. You really have to be, really put yourself out there. And when you're on the apps, you really have to be active and proactive and not just kind of sitting back. And, I think when I started too, it's like you just put a few pictures up there and you write a few words and then you're just like kind of sitting back waiting for something to happen. And you really can't do that. You really have to be swiping through and messaging with people, returning messages. Even like I got to the point where I was asking people out on dates myself because no one was doing it. Right. So it's like, instead of waiting for you to do it for the next 2 weeks, I'm just going to do it right now.
What is the number one thing people are getting wrong on their online dating apps?
So many people are focused on their photos only and not so much bio. And believe it or not, people are surprised to hear that even men read the bios. And it is more important than I think people think it is. And some people just, again, like just kind of write a few words down or, I joke around that my partner who I met online, he had like a resume as his bio, which I don't recommend. We did end up meeting, but it was pretty, pretty boring. So just really remembering that people are swiping through a lot of profiles in an evening or an afternoon, and just having something that really stands out to somebody, a little bit unique, and thinking about what's unique about you and putting that in there.
You're a stylist, so obviously outward is important as well as kind of telling about the inside of you. There's a difference, you say, between styling yourself for the biopic and for that first date, right?
Yeah. So, mostly for the first date, what's really important is that you, first of all, have to feel really good in what you're wearing and not have it be something that you are trying out for the first time. And so that's why I came up with like a first date uniform where it's tried and true. You're not trying on a million things. Already you're so nervous about going on a first date. The last thing you want to do is have to try on a million things and, have a pile of clothes on your floor and then you just throw on something because you're running late. Yeah. So having something already in mind that you feel good in, you feel attractive, you feel sexy, whatever it is that makes you feel good walking out the door. And you're not going to be fidgeting with the top or, the shoes hurt or something like that. Just really making that sure you feel already like that. Walking out the door, you already feel good.
And then what about the profile pictures? Like, what should you be showing?
For your profile pictures, this is kind of simpler is better, definitely, dressing up more than just like your sweatshirt or something. But, some people think they have to have, I had this kind of fashion blogger come to me saying, I'm not, getting any matches. And it's like, she had all these like really cool outfits on, but like she was never looking at the camera and it was very artsy and it was cool, but like she wasn't getting swiped on because you couldn't really even see her, and it was all you saw was the clothes, and so
Ah.
that was great for her fashion blog, but not really for dating. So just keeping it simple and, something again like that makes you really stand out and not the clothes.
Be yourself. I like it.